Particularization.
Particularization. That's a hard one, isn't it? I can't.
Say particularization.
Particularization.
Particularization. Particularization. Particularization.
Particularization.
Come and listen. Come to the water's edge, are you who know and fear the Lord.
Tonight and what's happening this weekend is significant because a church is not supposed to be led by just one person. God has raised up leaders and now gotten us to a point where we're having elders and much broader leadership than just myself and my family, and that God has established a team here that is now strong enough to give broad leadership and to give the kind of leadership that our church needs right now. One of the neatest things about this weekend is to see how God works in the individual relationships of people's lives and influences people through our lives. And there's a man who has lived in Birmingham, Alabama, and has ministered there for a long time, and his name is Frank Barker. He happens to be Billy Barnes' father-in-law, but he influenced guys like Randy Pope. So what's really cool is to think about is in the 70s, Perimeter Church in Atlanta was started with a guy named Randy Pope, who then hired a guy named Walter Wood, and Perimeter has exploded in growth and has led to nearly 30 churches being started in the greater Atlanta area. Walter Wood then moves from Atlanta to Cincinnati to start a brand new church about 12 years ago, and then I was their first hire, and I spent 6 years with Walter and basically baked in the oven there, grew up a little, matured, learned a lot under his tutelage and leadership and mentoring, and then felt called to move out here and do what we're doing here. And then Billy Barnes, who was Frank Barker's brother, son-in-law, he and his wife Anita were already here planning a church. And then the story sort of completed, just how God has connected all these relationships and all this influence, really because of the faithfulness of a guy named Frank, who I barely know, and yet he's had a huge influence on this church and many others. So it's just neat to know that your faithfulness, our faithfulness, can lead to a host of people being impacted for generations to come.
I think an appropriate name for this, I thought, could be All My Children, because it just shows you the value of the generational nature of the church. And so I appreciate this, having been involved over the years, just to see how important it is for us to take what we've learned. Paul tells Timothy, the things that you've learned and heard from me, entrust these to faithful men who will in turn teach others.
The thing that I think I'm most excited about New Valley is that people are coming and are getting to know Christ, are getting to know God. See it happening when you know that someone is really struggling and they've come and they have found peace and they have found comfort and they have found rest and they have found Christ. And then it's starting to make a difference in their lives. Or you see people that have been in church for a long time but are now excited about church. It's not just like the Sunday thing to do, but boy, God's doing something really neat here. And so it's exciting to come and be a part of that and help other people get involved in it. And to actually see that happening is just so cool.
And New Valley's been, a 3-year process for me, actually, because when I first met Scott and Becky, it's when they moved across the street from me. And at that time in my life, I was probably, a pretty self-centered person. I was concerned about myself, constantly worried about tomorrow and how I'm going to meet payroll and, having a nice home and having nice cars. It's kind of hard for me to say, but there was a time in my life when, and I think I've told you this before, that I said, I don't believe in God. Everything I've achieved myself. I would say that I probably, though I claimed I was a Christian, I don't know that I knew what that meant. I was fortunate that God put people in my life to help guide me along.
So now how do you view God?
He is ultimately the only thing I need, I have great kids, a great family. I'm blessed with so many things, and my goal right now in life is to, you know, further the relationships that I have here on earth for Him.
Go ahead.
Particularization.
Wow, you said it! Say it again.
Particularization.
That's exactly right.